Muslim ticket. Kumuyi speaks on Tinubu's choice of Shetima as running mate. The General Overseer of the Deeper Life Christian Ministry, W.F. Kumuyi, has shared his thoughts on the Muslim ticket fielded by the APC. Speaking to newsmen on Wednesday after paying a visit to the governor of Kwara State, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, Kumuyi said that the presidential candidates of various political parties should consider the desires of people before making their decisions. He insisted that politicians are not elected into office for themselves, but for the country. Hence, the needs of the people should be considered before making a decision. According to him, the Muslim or Christian ticket is a difficult and slippery area. The APC presidential flag bearer Bola Tinubu and his party took that slippery way to make Borno Senator and ex-governor Kashim Shettima his running mate. What I will say is that the political office holder should look at the heartbeat of the country as well as the desires of the people. Politicians should know that they are not there for themselves, they are there for all of us. They should ask and make their research about what the nation wants. They should ask and make their research on what the nation wants or what the country wants and what the people want. If they listen to the people, we will be confident that they listen to us when they get there. Okay? I mean, it's pretty much a neutral statement that is just speaking the facts. I guess obviously, given the fact that he's a pastor, he can't necessarily, well, being that kind of member of society, and he sort of has to maintain a neutral standpoint without necessarily leaning towards any side, which I think is relevant and necessary in this kind of situation. But yeah, I mean, I think it's necessary that he would say that. I mean, it's not really saying anything or not saying anything. He's just saying something, if that makes sense. But you know, now is the time for everyone to speak, but some people giving their positions may be limited to what they say, so as to maintain that stance of neutrality and also not try to push a certain agenda or endorse a candidate, because that basically shouldn't be. Especially as a church, you basically advise on what is right, as simple as that. And yeah, pretty much that's it. I mean, it is now the topic of conversation everywhere now. The church is getting into it, which is relevant. I mean, it shows how much of importance that this really holds. And I guess this is now where we are. Things are getting intense. Campaigning is already started. Well, it's going to start, but already started. So expected, yes, understood. It is what it is at the end of the day. I mean, what else do we expect from pastors? Be they cannot be biased. And I respect that, because sometimes, or maybe sometimes, pastors will be biased. I mean, pastors will be neutral and then their words will be taken and twisted, to make headlines. But yeah, let's look at comments. First, you are very correct, sir, because those touts that cause violence in every region of the country are those who would never travel out of their region. They believe they own their region, that nobody can come and drag it with them. What's that supposed to mean? Because I think in one regard, or in one aspect, you can say indigenous people of a land have every right times 10 to take ownership of a land, not to be disrespectful to visitors or those that are not from the land or those that are not indigenous, but what? There is a confidence that comes with you being from somewhere, belonging, having that identity. And I guess in one way or the other, you can say Nigeria is kind of an illegitimate state, because again, with colonialism, and the amalgamation, serving the interest of other parties but Nigerians, the makeup of the country wasn't to serve Nigerians in the first place. So I guess holding on to that identity is a strong thing that maybe over the years is something, they're not willing to give up, because they never gave it up. They were forced to become the Southern Protectorate, Northern Protectorate, one. So when they're amalgamated, it's like, okay, well, continue. And the basis of our joining was for economic benefit anyway. given Lord Lugard, given, the conquering of the North. Again, it was all for economic benefit. And it literally, it's as simple as that, for money. So give me the foundation as to how Nigeria is made and how it is now. It's not really surprising because, I think it's just very sad because a strength really, if anything, should really be our capacity and our productivity. But, otherwise is the case. Um, but yeah, when it comes to regions and people wanting to claim, as this comment has highlighted, that you don't want anyone to come to your region and drag it with them. Why should anyone come do that anyway? And I guess given how complex the nation is, in a fight and a bid for independence, the fathers or those who pioneered for that independence, you know, thought that if federalism was the best, or way of government, form of government for Nigeria, because of how diverse and complex it is, and that is the main thing that makes it very hard to rule. We are just very diverse. With our languages, it's just very hard. And then obviously looking at other countries, European countries, most times one country has one language, people from the same place. Not saying that their history is very very simple in that regard. Obviously, they themselves are conquering each other for and fighting themselves. Europeans are literally fighting themselves, and I think conquering Africa, we literally see in history, is one of the main times they really united. Um, so them conquering themselves in Europe, that's their history. Fine, fantastic, great. But when it comes down to it, in terms of the diversity, like you'd find that one country has one language, one sort of people. Fine, the same you can say you can say the same for a lot of European countries, for example. But then you're coming to Nigeria, where hello, we have to have an official language to make sure that we just need to have an official language that is not even any of our indigenous languages, so we don't have problems. Because there shouldn't be no reason as to why our official language is English. It doesn't make sense. Um, it's as simple as that. Like, and Nigeria is literally three countries in one. If we're really gonna be honest. So I guess people use the argument of other countries. For example, um, is it Congo or even Zimbabwe? Like they had another name, and then was it Rhodesia, I think, and then with independence, they named themselves back. They got their language, and of course that's fine. But then you have Nigeria, which is literally three countries in one, and it's like who tries to be the predominant one, and will the other ones decide? Because again, just what you were saying, the big three. It's like two big nations or three big nations. It doesn't work, and I think we should. I think in some ways, yes, we're diverse, but we should never really underestimate, the gravity of how diverse we are and how big each party or each region is. Because realistically, they could be their own country. In fact, they were on their own in the first place. So yeah, put what you think about what Pastor Kumuyi has said in terms of the elections and his neutral standpoint, in my opinion. And do not forget to like and subscribe.